Welcome back. Sam the Electrician here, talking about Western independence and Alberta separation. So it's Tuesday, February 25th, and slowly but surely, all across the nation, the rule of law is returning. The blockades and barricades by the illegal protesters, protests have been forcibly removed in places by the police. Arrests have been made in BC and Ontario, with more to come, I'm sure. CN Rail still hasn't really resumed normal operations. I'm sure there's still people out of work over there. My heart goes out to those people more than anyone, caught up in the middle between, radical climate activists who've been convinced that there's such a crisis by the really radical communist members of them who want to, like Greta, right, when she wrote her article, said that they want to tear down everything and change all of Western society. Those are the people behind all of this. Those are the people that have convinced these, shall we say, naive Canadians that there is such thing as a climate crisis. It's sad to see the useful idiots, as the communists would call them, going along with all this and hurting their own people. I mean, setting up a barricade in Ontario doesn't hurt anyone except Ontarians. And those people are just caught in the middle. It doesn't make much sense to me. But anyway, Trudeau has ordered the barricades to be taken down, at least some of them. The arrests were made. He tried his hardest not to go that route so he can show his base, which are the climate change activists and radicals, that his hand was forced. I've heard it in the mainstream media, the CBC, Maclean's magazine, which is just a leftist rag in my opinion, and on the floor of the House of Commons by the Liberals themselves, blaming the Conservative Party, blaming conservative, blaming right-wingers. I guess it's our fault all this is happening. I don't, it just doesn't make any sense. But of course, the Liberals can't take any responsibility for any of their own mismanagement. They never can. It's always someone else's fault when you're dealing with that side of the political spectrum, in my opinion. So, as usual, he's been forced into taking down these barricades, and the arrests have been made by the police. Those choices are out of his hands. The police decide to arrest anyone who's getting in their way when they go to enforce the rule of law. So it seems that it's slowly sort of getting back to normal here. I heard about a thing, I didn't see it. I heard there's a video on Rebel News. If you want to give it a watch, I may try to watch it tonight. I guess there was a group of guys, probably Alberta, possibly BC, who just got together. They weren't police or anything, and they just came up to a protest barricade and politely just sort of tore it down and threw it all in the back of a dump truck or a truck and drove away and dismantled the barricade themselves. And I don't know how heated the situation got or anything, but that's interesting that citizens are now starting to take actions into their own hands. It's one of the sort of signs that people have had enough. And like I've been predicting, right? It had a couple weeks ago, I was saying it's going to have to get a lot worse before it gets any better, and it's still getting worse. So for our point of view as a separatist, it's great. We need the country to be this divided. We need to show Albertans that nothing's ever going to change. The tech mine's gone. We'll never see another mega project in Alberta as long as we're part of this confederation. I know there's a lot of people in BC now that have been flipped over to our side on this particular issue. I think the people in Saskatchewan are watching very closely too. And I think that we can all stand unified together and come out of this a lot stronger than we were when we went in. And we just have to keep reminding people that this sort of thing is just going to continue and continue until we can get out of confederation. The rule of law and all that sort of stuff applies differently to different regions, obviously, because the federal government wills it so. Now, Do you think for 1 minute that if a bunch of separatists blocked off some highways and rail lines in Alberta, how long do you think it would be until Trudeau set the army on us? A day? 2 days? Maybe? RCMP would be all over it. And they'd have Trudeau and the federal cabinet's full blessing to go right in there and arrest everybody. And they wouldn't let us out of jail for as long as they could possibly get away with it. So just think about that. Think about what they would do if there was a separatist movement in Alberta blocking the economic traffic of this country. Something to think on. Anyway, thanks for joining me again. We'll be talking soon. I'm going to be making a lot of videos over the next couple days here. There's so much stuff going on politically that a lot has to be said. So take it easy.